Hello, everyone. This is Vance from Kopi with Vance. That's right. It's Wednesday, 9 p.m. So, it's time for coffee, or rather, Kopi with Vance. That's right. So, today is a very interesting topic again. Like I've been saying this for a couple of weeks. The month of November was an amazing, it was a diabetes topics all the way for every Wednesday. And it actually spilled over to the month of December as well, because I thought this will be a very interesting, and we have a special guest who's going to jump in just a minute. But before me inviting her, I thank all the viewers for the messages and the love and the share. So if you're watching this right now, please do share and like and give more support, because I think everybody should know how and what is all about diabetes. All right. In the past few weeks, like I mentioned, it's a very interesting topics with different professors and even experts who all came and talk and discuss about this. But today I have Dr. Kalpana Bhaskaran, is the president, Diabetes Singapore, the country's largest national charitable organization working to end diabetes. That's right, you hear me well. In this role, Kalpana leads with a focus on preventing, caring for people living with and curing diabetes through investments, education, advocacy, and scientific research, promoting the health of people and communities through optimum nutrition has been the central tenet of Kalpana's career. So, without any further ado, let me Dr. Kalpana Bhaskaran. Hello, doctor.
Good evening. Yeah.
Good evening. Good evening, Doctor. First of all, I got to say thank you so much. I know you just flew in and you just jumped into your chair, just ready for today's Kopi events. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. No issues because it's my pleasure that this opportunity we are able to share about diabetes. As you rightly pointed out, from November 14th, which was a World Diabetes Day, now we are going to be December 14th soon. Still, the topic
Yep.
revolving around diabetes has not ended. So that
Thank
again
you, Doctor.
brings us to the point that there's a lot to cover. And just before I start this, I would like to have place a disclaimer. The
Okay.
views which I'll be sharing in this show are mine because I speak about diabetes, but it just belongs to me. It doesn't belong to any of the organizations I represent. Thank you.
Thank you, doctor. But doctor, I think diabetes should be discussed throughout the year. I mean, that's what Diabetes Singapore is doing at this moment, and being the president of it, I know we have got a lot of interesting discussions going to go on for the next 40 minutes. Our viewers are already tuning up. Thank you so much, viewers. If you're seeing this, please do share and like, and if you can, send this link to many of your friends and loved ones, because we are going to fight diabetes, right? I think we all talk about COVID-19 as the pandemic and endemic, but I think diabetes been the pandemic and endemic all the while. But it's just that we are not talking about that. So we have Dr. Kalpana Bhaskaran here today to talk about it. Doctor, I'm going to just dive into today's topic because insulin, right? When we talk about insulin, it gives a lot of people a fear, but it is also a part of a manageable process or thing, that people administer to themselves by metformin or even by injection. But doc, 100 years of insulin discovery, do you still think we have managed to win the war on diabetes?
Okay, so this again is a very tricky question. I feel we have made some progress because imagine we did not even have insulin 100 years before. And now at least insulin is something which is life-saving hormone. And for some people with type 1 diabetes, they have to have the insulin jabs. Otherwise, that's the only thing which can save them. But before insulin came in or was discovered, when you look at it, people started even administering starvation diets to treat diabetes. Then came one period they thought, okay, there's glucose in urine. That is why it is mellitus, which means it tastes like honey. Okay, so that's the reason why the term came about. So in that case, why not we give, since they are losing glucose in urine, they started giving high carbohydrate diets. Then they decided, oh, that doesn't work. Then came on with low carb diets, very high fat, zero carb. So it has really gone through many stages of still evolving. Still, we are really understanding the diets, and now, yes, I can see we have really made long strides in winning the war, and I'm sure that we can proudly say in a couple of next years, yes, Singapore has won the war against diabetes.
Doctor, I think it's evolving. Even when we look at the stats, I think the stats are a bit scary as well, but we are not going to go into the exact stats. Even if you look at our ministers or even our PM, stressing day by day, month by month, year by year, right? They're talking about this, that it's biggest pandemic ever been, But, by year 2050, it's also a very scary stats. But, is there any way, I mean, I know there's a lot of stuff, it's a very holistic that we need to get into that. But what exactly is happening in our body, doc? Because we know the pancreas is the responsible of, the endocrine and the exocrine. But, a lot of us do not understand this piece of the condominium or the house or whatever that we live in. Do you think lack of exposure or lack of awareness about our body that's lead to these kind of diseases? Do you think that could be the one of the main reasons we don't understand our body too well?
Yes, definitely, because we know we have only one body, right? We all know that. Okay, and then all the organs are housed there. And like when we have even any gadget, we really take care of it very well. So if we really don't practice a healthy lifestyle, that's when what happens is we are abusing our body, and this might lead to a lot of chronic diseases will set in. The first thing which might happen if you really don't practice a healthy lifestyle is maybe you start gaining weight. Then this leads to overweight and obesity, and that leads to a condition called insulin resistance. Actually, what happens is we do produce, this person does produce insulin, but this insulin is not working anymore. Okay, or the cells are resistant to this insulin. So that's when without insulin, this insulin is something like your key, your house key or your car keys and so on. You have a very nice BMW, but let's say there is no petrol, or you lose your key, you cannot get into the car. Just like that, if you don't have insulin, this sugars, the glucose, which is after you consume food, this glucose is just hovering around, waiting at the lobby, cannot enter the cell. So that's what we call it as diabetes. And to me, yes, lifestyle is something which we abuse, you get it. And also there are other factors like hereditary and so on, also increases the risk for diabetes.
Doctor, you said it very well about the key and the car, how the insulin, works and the processes. I think, awareness and exposure is very, very much more needed. And that's why I think Diabetes Singapore is actually focusing on that as well. We will talk more about that as we go on. So viewers who are watching this, please do share and like. And if you do have any questions for Doctor, please type it in the comments. We have the last 10 minutes of segment for Doctor to answer that as well. Doctor, why do some people do not accept that they have diabetes, or why don't they come forward? Why they don't want to come forward? Is it could be the fear of knowing that they are having a diabetes and that rest of their life, or even doing a simple test like HbA1c also fears some of us. What is this rationale behind this?
Yeah, but this is very common. This is psychological, or when they are, when if let's say when they go for a blood test or screening, if they are diagnosed with diabetes, so immediately they fear. When you think of diabetes, the big D, you can say it's connected to a lot of complications, and they're always in constant denial. It's not for me. No, I'm not diabetic, so they don't even want to check whether their sugar levels are normal. So they try to postpone and postpone until one day, then they have symptoms like maybe increased urination in the night, and also the appetite increases, but at the same time they are losing weight. There'll be frequent urinary tract infections and so on. Then that's when they'll be going for health check, and they know that okay, yes, they have got diabetes. See, first thing is that the fear should not be there, and then they have to have the positive mindset to accept, yes, I will be able to manage it. It is a manageable disease. Yes, it's a disease, but definitely, and it's a lifestyle disease, and it is manageable.
Doc, I have visited Diabetes Singapore, and I feel very warm, and it's a very nice setting with the launch areas and the way it is set up. It is basically set up for a purpose, because you don't want to put it as very stressful environment. Even
Yes.
anybody who wants to walk in there, is there a behind a reason for that?
Yeah. So when you look at our founder, Dr. Frederick Tan, when he started diabetes, imagine 50 years before. He's visionary. Okay, so those days, maybe the prevalence of diabetes was is not as high as now, but he had the vision to start, and we started with our center, which is one is at Jurong West, and we have one more center at Boon King. In addition, we also have two mobile buses which go island wide. Okay, and these with mobile buses, what we do is we work with GPs, or we call it the primary care network, and we really go down to the heartlands to serve people with diabetes. And when you look at our centers, you're right, it doesn't even look like, even not even like a polyclinic or a hospital
Yeah.
clinic, not even a GP's clinic.
Yeah.
It just looks like you're visiting your friend's place. Okay,
Yes.
only thing is maybe you don't get a coffee. Maybe I should come out with a vending machine to serve
Yeah.
some fresh coffee. Yeah, so you just walk in, and we have a very friendly nurses and our staff who welcome you, and you can book an appointment. No need to wait, and then you also no need to be scared. Okay, COVID times. Will I get it from the next person who's sitting to? Nothing. And we did not even close down during COVID. It was open, and what we do is we do DRP, which is diabetes retinopathy testing. Okay, let's say when you want to go into any other clinic, it may take, with the old methods and so on, it may take 1 hour to get your results. And someone has to read your results to explain to you. But when you come to diabetes center, or even to just hop onto a bus, you can get your diabetes, your eye screening done within 3 minutes, just 3 minutes. Okay, just like Maggie noodles, Maggie 2 minutes, 3 minutes, that's it.
Triplets. Yeah.
Then we also can get your food screening done, because this is something we always strongly encourage, because diabetes affects every organ of your body. It also affects your nerves, and so people with diabetes may not have like enough sensation. So if there is a wound and all that, you bet, like if they go to the come to our center, our nurses can do the food screening, and on top of that we have counseling. And our nurses are so like motherly, they also counsel about how do you take care if, let's say, you're administering insulin, what is the best method, and how do you do it safely, even testing your sugar levels, maybe alcohol, how to use your alcohol. So a lot of tips they give, because they are very experienced, so they give all these tips. In addition to that, okay, one more thing we also have is we have the diabetic support group. So diabetic support group is made of all members who are diabetic. So they also share about their experiences. To me, this is the best learning ground, because you really hear from the patients their experience. Otherwise, even let's say I'm not a medical doctor, so I think some of you are watching me think I'm not. So some of the, like even the doctor, even myself, if I tell the patient, oh, you eat this, your sugar level is going to come down, but I'm not a diabetic. Imagine a person with diabetes shares about the information they are living. So to me, that is something very, very valuable. So that is the reason why we feel, please join our association, try to make benefits, as well as we have to pay it forward. How do we give it back to the community? Educate others who are not diabetic, so that we can completely eradicate diabetes.
Doctor, and another point of area that we're actually looking at, you has mentioned it very well. Often, urination, excessive weight loss,
Yes.
maybe a little bit of mood swings, and so on and so forth. But for someone who have not read the body's instruction manual, because they do not know what's happening inside rather than what's happening outside. Anybody who wants to look good, the first thing that comes to the mind is, hey, I want to lose 5 kg or 10 kg to look good. But I think it's very important to look inwards first. I think your health also matters, very much important area that we need to look at. But what is another interesting area that we want to talk about is also about, our topic is about U-turn diabetes. What are your thoughts, and does it mean that we can reverse diabetes?
Okay, this is why when we discussed about the title, right? This U-turn diabetes is something very close to my heart. Okay, the U is you. Okay, it is very personalized, and okay, there are many things we can make meaning out of this term U-turn diabetes. One is, let's say, first is, if you are not a diabetic, make sure you don't even go towards it. You take a U-turn, you better follow the healthy path. So, in order to take that U-turn, you need to pick up your healthy lifestyle, which includes exercise and healthy diet. That's very important. And also maybe good sleep, less stress, and so on. That's one U-turn. The other U-turn is, let's say you're pre-diabetic. So pre-diabetic is you're not at full-blown diabetic. You have not started on your diabetic medication, but you're there. Okay, you're pre-diabetic. So the doctor wants you. Then you take a U-turn. Pre-diabetes is reversible. So you try to modify, and I have seen so many patients and they are fine. Okay, they have had pre-diabetes now 10 years down the road, they're still okay, their values are much, much better. That's another U-turn. Then one more is, let's say if you're gestational diabetic, this is nothing but which happens in pregnancy. In pregnancy, due to hormonal changes, people may become diabetic. But this will be if you're during pregnancy, you follow a proper diet and everything. What happens is you also make sure the newborn is not obese or overweight when the child is born, because usually when a mother is gestational diabetes, this increases or produces a macrosomic baby. So that can be also avoided if you follow a healthy diet during pregnancy. So another U-turn. And the mother also eats a healthy diet, takes all the precautions, maybe she will not turn to a full-blown diabetes after she delivers. Another U-turn. And one more is, okay, you're already diabetic. Okay, do I have a U-turn? Yes. Okay, how do you have this U-turn? Is this is the most important U-turn is I will prevent all the complications. Okay, I will be preventing the complications. I'll be able to manage the disease. I have patients in my diabetic support group, and they are 30 years diabetic without any major complications because they know how to take care of themselves. So, this is how you can definitely U turn. And there are also patients who have U turned their diabetes. I can tell they are under remission, means they were on insulin, they were taking like maybe 1,000, 2,000 milligrams of metformin. Now they have taken off all their drugs, they're just following only with diet, and that's also a U-turn, but that's remission. Maybe if they go back to their old ways, they will get diabetes again. It's
Doc,
possible. And it is, yeah.
from what you are saying, that I try to understand, or even our viewers as well. So there's two aspects of areas, right? One is prevention and another one is managing. So both
Yes.
are able to, at this 2021 and going to 2022 year, that it is both are manageable right now, but there still seems to be a little fear when it comes to diabetes. Oh, well, I have these kind of presentations, like going into often urination, or even if excessive weight loss, and sometimes the people tend to get a little fear on that. And I think mainly diabetes Singapore itself role. What is the role of diabetes in your association, doc? What does the support of people with diabetes?
So what, as you rightly pointed out, we are the Singapore's biggest organization for diabetes. We are also with the IPC status. So that's why we are funded, and all our services are definitely, you cannot match anyone who can offer services at this rate. Very affordable. So one thing is, okay, if a person is diabetic, yes, of course, I feel they should have that, not that fear, but the consciousness. Yes, I am diabetic, the acceptance. And what do I do to prevent complications? So, how do we come in to support this? Is definitely we always encourage them to do screening, screen for life. Okay, that's also supported by HPB, right? You have to screen, and this is not just diabetic. I think all of us should go for screening to make sure that we are okay. Uh, See, for example, let's say we screen our bank accounts all the time. We see what
Yep,
money
we do.
goes in, comes out. But do we screen ourselves? Do you really screen what we put in and especially what we do? So that's very important. That's we encourage them. We give talks. So a lot of free talks for our members. And these one more thing is these talks also give our members ideas about what are the latest in the field, what can be done. These talks are not just only about diet and lifestyle. We also talk about other areas as well, something interesting. So because to me a patient with diabetes is a human being, we cannot be always talking only about the disease, so we also talk about other things as well. So we bring them together, that's one. And we also do community, we go down to the community, we do screening at the community. And our diabetic support group also organizes walks, okay, during the park connectors and all that. Very actively they organize walks. And but now because of this pandemic we are not doing, but it will kickstart soon. So like that, we organize a varied events. We also do fundraising since we are charity. We do fundraising, and what else we did was some of us are in the task force. My board has four leading endocrinologists, and including our executive director, most of us, including our patients, our members, we sit on the national work groups under the NDRM framework. So due to this, we also have launched our, we came up with a diabetic plate, healthy eating plate, which is slightly different from my healthy plate. We encourage people to eat 2 servings of vegetables every meal. So the fruit is outside the plate. Okay, this is something we encourage because vegetables have fiber, antioxidants, and they have less carbs, and these carbs are slow release. So we have launched this plate, and this plate is also available at giving.sg. And those who want to support our charity, I think it is a very nice way of giving. You can buy this as a gift for Christmas, New Year. You can also do that. Yes.
Thank you, Doctor. Uh, Again, we also still be in the same topic, coming back again, and obesity. Nowadays we don't move as much. We got the elevators, the escalators, the buses, we drive. The interesting thing is, even if you go to the shopping centers in Singapore, or I mean in most of the places, the place where there's elevators are the places where all the parking lots are taken off, because a lot of
Yes.
people want to park there. I mean, of course there are people with challenges, put staff and families, but we tend to walk lesser, but we tend to eat more. We are not trying to, the body is made to move, but unfortunately we are not doing that. So the next possibility is obesity. Will be obesity lead to diabetes?
Yes, definitely. Obesity is one of the major risk factors for diabetes. So what happens is, if a child is actually the obesity actually starts in the mother's womb, epigenetics. But let's say during the growing years, the type of foods which are given to the child and a lack of physical activity leads to overweight, then becomes obesity. So as when a person becomes obese, you can see the adipocytes, which are nothing but the fat cells, enlarge. They also produce certain hormones. Actually, obese cells or adipocytes produce the hormone leptin, adiponectin. These are all appetite hormones. So once because of this obesity, actually even this hormonal function is disrupted, and so their hunger cues are compromised. So you may tell, we always think, okay, obese person, that's because they are eating more. It need not be. It is because of this hormonal changes, they may not be even able to identify hunger cues. And so, even though they eat, they don't feel that they are satisfied. Their hunger may be satisfied, but their appetite is not satisfied. So, this leads to, of course, insulin resistance, because that's the reason. And also, obesity is a state of inflammation. And when your obese cells increase, your CRP increases, and all these things again lead to pre-diabetes and diabetes, and even before that, metabolic syndrome. So they all don't happen overnight. It takes years. Slowly, it's like creeping. Okay, so you have no idea. One fine day, suddenly you see your HbA1c increase. That is why we say screen, screen. Yeah.
But isn't it, dog? See, the biggest challenge I think we Singaporeans have it right now, even globally, the favorite foods. I mean, we enjoy foods. There's lots of high grams of sugar in all kind of drinks that we can talk about. We're not going to mention the names. But then again, if you look at it, all the local foods on a different cultures, right? The Indian, the Chinese, and the Malays. So I think it has to do with discipline, right? But if someone who's not been taking care in the age of 20s and 30s, and going awire on the food and the drinks which contains 30 grams of sugar, 40 grams of sugar, is it a path that it is leading to diabetes eventually?
So definitely, you rightly point out the juice. So first thing I tell is, if you want to prevent diabetes, go back, look at your refrigerator, don't buy juice. Strictly no juices, not even for babies. Okay, first thing, you have to eat the whole fruit. The reason is, when you take a fruit, like say for example an apple. Okay, an apple, again the size matters. Try to go for, I have to mention the name, which is the Royal Gala, which is around 100 to 130 grams. You can try any time, it will never go beyond 130 grams. So this size of apple gives around 15 grams carbs. So if you take this 15 grams of this apple, sorry, that 100 grams of apple, which has 15 grams of carbs, you try to put on an Abbott Libre, which can check your sugar levels, or you just use a glucometer, you will not see a sugar spike because just 15-gram carb, you don't see a major spike. Let's say you want to drink a cup of apple juice. Guess how many carbs are there? 15 grams is one apple. In an apple juice, it is 46, around there 40, 46
Wow.
grams. Just pure apple juice, you need not even, because in order to squeeze that one cup of juice, I may use 2 to 3 apples. This is pure juice. But if, let's say, I go and buy a juice drink, it means it has got added sugar. So once you drink this, being a beverage, a liquid, you don't even chew, right? So the vagus nerve is not activated, so you don't feel hungry. That is first thing. And then as soon it goes in, within seconds it goes into your stomach. Then it goes to your intestine because it's liquid. Then it's absorbed. You see a spike. Okay, and this spike is what also creates insulin spike. And when insulin spike happens, you store fat. Excess sugar is converted to fat, and that leads to visceral obesity, insulin. So it's like a vicious cycle. So that's the reason. First thing is go for whole foods. Try to like cut down ultra processed foods, especially carbs. Okay. One thing you mentioned about foods, Asian foods, mostly carb based. So it is carbicide. Okay, like
Carbicide.
suicide is carbicide. So anytime you think of carbs, you have to think, okay, let me cut down. That's the first thing I will say. You have to cut down carbs. I will not even use the term low carb, no carb, but go for cut down your carbs, go for slow release or low glycemic index carbs. You will be able to reverse diabetes.
Doc, we are hearing so much of these grams of sugar that per day, someone should take, depending on their height and the weight. But, in a general advice or, the intake of a person, how many grams of sugar should a person take? Is it depends on their activities or whether is it depends on their height or weight? Is there a certain guideline where people can
Okay,
follow?
yes. If you ask me personally, if you think of sugar like table sugar, I will suggest that don't take any. Okay, unless the reason is don't have added sugar. So morning you're taking coffee. If you can drink without adding sugar, go for it or cut down the sugar. Okay, so that's one. But if you take cakes and all that, you still have sugars. They are also added. They are hidden sugars. As per WHO, World Health Organization recommendation, your sugar intake should not exceed 10% of your total calories. That accounts for not more than 50 grams of sugar, which is equivalent to maybe not more than 5 to 9 teaspoons of sugar per day. But imagine I told you your apple juice, I take one, I get 45 grams of carbs, than your sugar. So we actually take more than required. We are all taking double dose, triple dose of sugar.
So best is as much as possible try to avoid sugar contents food or even beverages if possible, right?
Yeah, restrict. Maybe we don't use
Restricted.
avoid because food is for eating. So, but restrict food. But I also feel, I tell families, why don't you start sugar-free Sundays or sugarless Sundays? So eat with the family, try to cut down. So this becomes your at least weekly once, you go for something like that. So deliberately you're cutting down your like these are empty calories because they have nothing but just carbs.
But doctor, I mean, we, especially kids or even adults, especially when you're driving or you want to snack something, there's a lot of chocolates, and sometimes people do eat based on stress.
Yes.
Sometimes your body is just asking for water, but because you never hydrate yourself for the entire day, and possibility you're not listening to your body so much, but then you walked in and you buy a couple of drinks and chocolates or snacks, and you will look at it at the end of the day you probably had taken more than 50 grams of sugar. So you're actually abusing the system when your pancreas is constantly working. So I would like to example put it this way, it's like our body is like a factory, is non-stop processing the food
Yes.
that whatever junks or whatever you're putting in. So I think the guys are poor, isn't it, doc? I think they are constantly working non-stop.
I think, see, one more thing people think is okay, if a donut is like it contains maybe 30 grams of sugar. In that case, 30 grams of carbs, I should say. So they may say, oh, you need to run on a treadmill so you can burn the calories. So actually, I don't really 100% agree with that, because a calorie is not a calorie. The reason is you have to also have to look into the quality of what you're consuming. Just you rightly pointed out, I just may eat a chocolate and so on. But let's say if you eat 100 grams, 100 calories from a chocolate, you're eating 100 calories maybe from a fruit or a bowl of salad, a vegetable salad. So these two calories are completely different. They are not the same. Even the calorie wise, they are the same, but the nutrients inside the chocolate will just have only carbs, which is sugar. Then it has fats, and maybe, of course, if it's good brand of chocolate, it may have some antioxidants. Dark chocolate does have antioxidants. But when you look at a bowl of vegetable salad, it depends on the type of vegetables. All the colorful vegetables have a lot of antioxidants, and these antioxidants are actually protective. That's why it's antioxidants. They knock out all the free radicals. They prevent, like even they are like anti-aging. So that's the reason they give the fiber, both soluble, insoluble fiber, and all these colored pigments are cancer preventive as well. That is the reason why anything you choose, like when you go and buy your shoe, or even let's say you want to buy your favorite t-shirt, or maybe ladies you want to buy your diamonds, you look for quality. So, but in the case of food, why are we not giving importance to quality? So every time you choose, you think of quality, quantity, both are equally important, portion control. And then, yes, we love to eat certain foods. You can eat them, but frequency. Don't eat them every day. Maybe some of the days, okay, this is, I may try to taste something. So this is how it should be.
Um, Coming back again to the food, again, it's a very big variety of things that we can talk on. But someone who was working on a very stressed deadline, his heart rate is above 140, beats per minute, and he's just like, in his computer, and the clock strikes at 12, and he goes for lunch. And then he has two options, right? Two is his favorite food. One is a yong tau foo, another one is the famous mee goreng. Okay, so this is the challenge. But based on his craving, based on his stress, I think he's avoiding the yong tofu, and he wants an instant calories, an instant satisfying meal. So do you think, Doc, it is something to do with mental condition, a discipline, a habit, a character, an attitude to make the decision, say, nope, I'm not going for that, but I'm going for this? Do you think that is also something to do with psychological decision making?
Yes, definitely. That's what we use cognitive behavioral therapy when we like talk about diet, to be, because we cannot be using do not eat, do not. So we try to avoid all the negative words. In fact, we also don't even weigh the person. Okay, we always believe in health at every size. So it's not just the BMI. And when it comes to craving again, you think of mindful eating. Okay, so once you're mindful, okay, you know what it is, but then it's again also habit. There are many things coming. It's not just one thing. I told you, cognitive behavioral therapy involves many things. Okay, your mindfulness, as well as you have to break your habit, and then you have to sustain this. Okay, you see so many things. So when you want to break a habit, minimum is 24 days to 28 days. You need to practice, practice, practice. Then it becomes a part of you. That is not in everything, certain things. That is the reason why even the portion control, it's very hard for you to suddenly you're eating one bowl of noodle. When a patient comes to me and I cannot tell him, no, can you cut down to half a bowl? It's practically difficult for the person. So the way we do is we try to replace that with something else, so that we avoid that void. That's one thing. And also we try to like cut down slowly, but there should be someone coaching it. See, always when people have someone helping them, a dietitian or even a health coach talking to them, they know that okay, there is someone with me. I'm not all alone. And always we advise that please bring a family member along. So the family support is also Very, very important, not just for diabetes, for anything, for you to follow. It's something to look up to. That is the reason why when you join diabetic support group, you have members who are your buddies. Then they will understand your problems. So it's then you can work it out.
Doc, I mean, like we said, CBT, right? Cognitive behavioral therapy. I think it's so much important, especially when it comes to stress eating, or even for the fact of favorite food. I mean, I do notice that. I mean, when we go for lunches and dinners, when you observe, I mean, not as a judgmental, but when you observe, they tend to have a sugary drink, or after having a meal,
Yes.
the dessert comes in, right? And that's where you're adding in too much. If that person is already having a big carbo meal and with lots of stuff in it, right? And then the last part, having a high sugar drink, we don't want to mention the names, whatever brands can be, and then followed by a dessert. What is the grams of sugar one as abuse in the body, doc? I mean, what are we looking at? What is the numbers? And an estimation number, carb meal, of a high sugar drink, and a dessert.
Yes.
What do you think that the person is
I'll
estimating?
maybe I'll give you a. Okay, you go for, let's say, look at nasi biryani. Okay,
Okay,
this person goes
right.
for a nasi biryani. One plate of nasi biryani. Okay, guess how many carbs it has? It has closer to. Okay, one small bowl has just three dessert spoons of rice has around like 15-gram carbs. So this is a big plate. So this may have closer to 60 grams of carbs. Okay, just the biryani. Okay, of course, chicken doesn't have anything. It's all your meat and meat products, they have zero carbs. So this person is just eating the biryani, let's say. And after that, let's say you're eating with little bit of yogurt raita with yogurt. Yogurt also has carbs. Okay, so maybe that is around 15, so 75 grams of carbs. Okay, you're tempted, definitely that's your appetite. Your hunger is satisfied after a few mouthfuls, but the appetite, which is your desserts. So you go and eat a nice cake. Let's say you want to eat a strawberry shortcake. So one cake may have up to around 50 to 60 grams, a big slice. Usually when you go and buy the big slice, not the small
Yeah.
piece. So your carb level for that meal will cross 100 grams. So your sugar spike will just hang in there for a few hours. So that is why this is how most of the meals, our meals are very high in carbs. Even you mentioned mee goreng, right? So when you take a plate of mee goreng is made with yellow noodles. Yellow noodles is even more sinful. Why? Because it's made with sodium bicarbonate. That's why it's alkaline. So
Yeah.
anything which is alkaline will break down carbs faster. So that's why sugar spikes. So and also the combination, when you combine foods with certain foods, the way you eat, you can try to blunt your sugar release. Actually, it's so much of science to it. It's art and science of eating. So when you understand it, definitely you can have a diabetes remission.
And that is a time where they go into hyperglycemia and then feel
Yes,
sleepy, don't feel like moving, feel like
that's food
sleeping,
coma.
So yeah, it's a food coma, right?
Yes,
When someone doesn't eat anything, then they fall into hypoglycemia. So that's always the extreme parts of both areas that we are looking at. Um, well said, doc. I mean, on the carbs and diabetes as well. In terms of diabetes Singapore, is there, I mean, one of the biggest charitable organization in Singapore supporting people with, tests and so on and so forth. But can people buy any merchandise from your centers? I mean, do you have any
yes.
things like shirts
Um,
or whatever to support it, to
yeah.
support Diabetes
See,
Singapore?
first is they should join as a member, and it's only $30. Just $30 for a yearly membership. So imagine $30. It's I can call this just 1 cent per day. So the whole,
Yeah.
and we also give a glucometer when you sign up as a member. So that's one, and we have all the other privileges like merchandise. You can buy your alcohol swabs, buy your lancets, and those who are using insulin, they can buy the insulin pens, food creams. So we have so many range, and in fact, we are also planning to launch something like an online platform. We are looking into it. We are revamping our website so people also can buy things online.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you for that information as well. We are coming to the last part of the question itself. It's such a fruitful session talking about diabetes, the prevention and the managing it. I mean, if any category that any somebody fall into, but I think the biggest question that everyone has it in their mind once they have it is about managing, and also worries them about other complications that you mentioned about, right? The wound doesn't get healed fast, and causes of a lot of other stuff, kidneys and failures and so on, so many things. But we're not going to scare them, but this is all the fact. But will there be any chances can I get rid of my diabetes? I mean, will it ever go away in the next 30 years or the next 50 years of science? Because we talked about 100 years of insulin. What will happen, or what do you think, doc, is going to happen in the next 40, 50 years? Probably we won't be around. So what do you think that will be?
Okay, you cannot tell it will go away. Diabetes
Okay.
still will be there. I mean, with healthy lifestyle, and because now you know the disease better, so it is not like COVID, still we are understanding it, whereas diabetes has been understood very very well in different areas. When you come about pharmacotherapy, diet therapy, even behavioral therapy, we have looked into all possible areas, but still I feel there is a little bit of gap there. We are not able to find that fix the puzzle, and that puzzle is because people are still feeling burnt out. Okay, I have this disease, will it definitely go away? So I cannot tell you, cannot completely, it will not go away. There is a remission, but still with healthy, I will feel first is with your healthy diet and lifestyle, you can prevent it. So if you prevent it, then no need to talk about it goes away, right? If you prevent it, you don't have it at all. So that happens when you talk about even nutrigenomics. So from when the child is growing the mother's womb, the right type of foods given, your environmental factors, everything is well controlled, then you are able to manipulate your gene. That's your nutrigenomics. And also eating based on your genes, because we have gene kits where you can test and check, okay, this is the ideal diet for me. So there are many many medical advances. So with all those things, I definitely feel we can prevent diabetes. So this alarming numbers will definitely come down.
Thank you, doctor, for that. We have a question right now. Let me just pull it over. It's from Ashwini. Let me just try to put it over across. Dr. Kalpana, can I take protein shake? I mean, she doesn't mention anything about sugar or whatever, but she just purely put it as, can I take protein shake? So, uh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, if this is a very good question. Is it talking about? I'm not sure whether Ashwin, are you like a person with diabetes? That's first question. Then why are you like taking protein shake because you want to do your working out and so on? So one thing is, yes, you can take a protein shake, but when are you taking it? Is it your pre-workout? You're taking it, then you're going to do a workout. That's fine. But again, if you are having diabetes or pre-diabetes, make sure that the protein shake also is your kidneys are functioning well. Okay, main thing is if there is any problem with the functioning of the kidneys, then or if the person has microalbuminuria, you have to be watchful. You cannot be taking protein shakes. You need to consult a dietitian to see whether is it definitely necessary for you to take.
All right, doctor. So I think I just got another message from Ashwin. Yes, pre-diabetics.
Okay.
So I
So,
think that's
but
one of the reasons
maybe
why.
just
Yeah.
check, yeah, pre-diabetes, but just check your kidney function, and then if you everything is okay, you can take. And again, the quantity of protein shake taken also should be, because excess protein also is converted to fat, so you should not forget that. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Ashwin, for that particular question. We have one more to go. I mean, viewers, if you have any questions for Dr. Kalpana Bhaskaran, you can type in because we have another 10 more minutes. Because I know she had a very long day, because I know she just flew in like a Wonder Woman and sat on a chair. I mean, that's backstage. I shouldn't be revealing out. But I really very grateful for your time, Doc. I mean, you just flew in and just sit down I'm not sure you have your drinks or a little, your dinner. I'm not sure, but thank you so much. But one more questions for Dr. Kalpana by Audrey. Is sugar a drug?
Okay, this is again a very interesting question. Okay, when you talk about drug, I think you are referring to the drug, not the medical pharma drug. So maybe is it addictive? Okay, when you ask sugar a drug, then I say yes means is it addictive? It is an addictive because once this is nothing but your taste, right? So once you're used to it, of course you will crave for more. Then that's when you come to how do you tame your taste buds not to crave for more. So that is again a science, sensory science. It's just a matter of habit again. As some of them, when they love sugar or they like the sugary taste, this again is genetic. Okay, some of us, the way we are born, our genes, we crave for sugary things, we crave for salty things. You have to only just tame it over. Otherwise, yes, you will be addicted to it, you will eat more. That is the reason why I always tell anyone, try not even to go for artificial sweeteners because you're still
Yep.
eating something sweet, right? So preferably cut down that and try to eat everything natural, enjoy it in its natural form. Okay, that is how food should be eaten.
Thank you, doctor, and thank you, Audrey, for that question. So definitely, it can be addicted if you let it be. Better not go into that. We have Zuhaya Baka. There is a low carb or zero carbs protein shake under Hyperpure brand.
So
So she's saying, yeah. So your take, doctor, on this?
yeah, there are low carb. It's fine. Protein shakes can be made low carb. It is the easiest thing to do because when protein shakes are made from whey protein. So there is two types of whey protein. One is whey protein isolate, and the other one is whey protein concentrate. Whey protein concentrates have like hardly any carbs, so they make up. So it's fine. But again, I will suggest that when you take these protein shakes, your even one scoop, okay, of certain brands, they have around more than 20 grams of protein. So if you take a couple of scoops, you are actually dosing yourselves with such high amount of amino acid at one go because your body again, amino acid transporters, they also compete for it to enter the cell. So again, anything I tell you is too much is not good. You also have to balance out. If let's say for example, when you plan your meal, if you are a 50 kilogram person, or let's say if you're a 70 kilogram male, and you also take care of your age. If you're 70 kilogram and if you're over 60 or over 50 years, then how much protein should you take will be 70 times 1.2. Okay, or roughly if you put it, at least minimum is 1 gram protein per kilogram body weight, which is 70 grams. So then this 70 grams, you have to divide it throughout the day because your muscle building happens throughout
Yep.
the day. So you spread it across, then you're fine. Whether you can take zero carb, you can take protein shake with carbs, it's fine. But spread it across, don't have it as a big dose.
Thank you, Doc, and thank you for the question, Zuhaya Baka. We have the last one, a question from Jason. Let me just pull it over. Jason has asked, after my workout session, 5 kilometer, can I drink a sports drink which has 17 grams of sugar? So
Okay,
basically, after a
17
workout session,
grams. Yeah, 17 grams is ideal. It just is one exchange, one choice of carbohydrate. So should be okay. But again, I preferably, if you ask me, yes, sports drink, or even if you feel if you're okay. See, for example, this again depends on what is your like before you started your walk or run. What are your glycogen stores? If your glycogen stores are full after your 5 kilometer walk, I don't think nothing is going to happen, right? So it's fine. But still, if you feel okay, I feel tired and so on, you can go up and it's just 17 grams should be okay.
all right, thank you, Jason, and thank you, Doc. Doc, we have come to the last segment, or rather, the last part of Kopi with Vance. It has definitely been a very fruitful to have you in Kopi with Vance from the Diabetes of Singapore as a president, sharing your in-depth knowledge of your expertise on managing and prevention of diabetes in Singapore. And it's been a scary stats as well in Singapore. And with your association helping out and reaching out to many people, more people should be aware and get this awareness and be a part of Diabetes Singapore to be ending together and at the same time to make a change. Because as we look at the stats, we are making people exercise, we are making people to eat properly. That there's a lot of huge things that's going on in terms of a very big holistic area. It's not just about diet, it is about exercise, it's about discipline, as we talked about it, attitude, character, and so forth. So thank you, Doctor, for spending 56 minutes of your precious time with us. But I'm sure this is not just going to be the end, because we are going to have a webinar series with Diabetes Singapore on a very constant basis, which is going to have it on a regular basis. So there's a lot of talk sessions going to happen, and it's a great collaboration with Diabetes Singapore. And thank you, Dr. Kalpana Bhaskaran. Before we take a leave, any advice for viewers for Doc?
Okay, the only advice is be positive. Definitely, why I came out with the title "You Turn Diabetes" is it's in your hands, it's in our hands to actually prevent diabetes, to manage diabetes, and always look at the positive and join us. Join us. We can work together towards it. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. We will stay connected, and it's been a great pleasure having you in Kopi with Bets. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a pleasant day. Bye bye. All right, so that's Dr. Kalpana Bhaskaran from the Diabetes Singapore. She's the president, and it's been a great hour. Definitely, I have learned something. I'm sure you have learned something as well, and with lots of information. It's been a very fruitful the month of November and December as well, because we have concluded the last session of diabetes talk that we have come. And moving forward in the next couple of weeks, there's going to be a lot more other interesting topics that's experts and professors and doctors are coming on board to share their expertise. I'm sure you have loved the session at Copy Events. If there's any feedback, you can always send me a message or a command, and then we try and see what we can do. So in the meantime, take care, and I will catch you very soon in our next Copy Events, which is Wednesday, 9 p.m. Till then, this is Vance. Well, sorry, that's Copy with Vance. Can you see him? No. Okay. Okay. That's right. All right. Catch you. See ya. Bye bye.